First of all, a very good morning to you. Myself, Pawan Singh Rawat, and the name of the course that I've opted is What is Contemporary Art? And the name of the first module is Introduction to the Question, What is Contemporary Art? Now, it starts with a statement of Shelia Hicks, who says that she has managed to make something that looks like as though it was looking like when it was on the ground. Now, this pillar of inquiry is searching for something or looking for something. It is an optimistic gesture, and this pillar of inquiry is wide open. Now, this statement of Shelia Hicks embodies in us the curiosity and openness to the question, what is contemporary art? Now, with this course, we will venture into artist studios and head out into the world with them. We will have a very deeper understanding of how artists work today and how do they experiment from a wide range of impressive materials. We will see how they respond to the pressing issues and questions of our time, the questions that are inside the mind of all the peoples. We will gain confidence while we look at the contemporary art, whenever we encounter them, and connect them with our own life and our own creative pursuits. Now, there are some random sentences of some artists, like one says that our work is often a response to something, and that something is often a problem. One says, I think that it is an interesting side to work, a work that requires an action like simply to crawl. One says, there is something very powerful about making an abject thing into a one which is a very valuable thing. It all happens in a single swoop and ignites in a way like it's all happening at the same time. Contemporary art tells us about the story of artist's life or what artist is going through. It responds to the concerns of artist's life. It may be personal, social, or political. Now, it also transforms the sense of urgency that manifests differently in different artists according to their process and material, like with what material, what process they are using, what type of cutting they are doing, what type of elongation with that material, what they are doing. Now, the name of the next module is Media from Television to Internet. Next artist is Arthur Jafa. Now, he clipped all the photographs that he collected from various newspapers, magazines, and advertisements, and also many of them served as a reference to his cinematographical and filmographical works. He said that he lived in New York for the past 15 years. It was like a heyday for the newsstands, magazines, and bookstores. He went to the Central Park West, and on the Sunday evenings, there were like a bunch of magazines in the street. Now, for a person who has been obsessively collecting images or photographs, it was like a light bulb that went off his head. So he collected photographs, magazines, and started cutting them. Just like the designers and mood boards, they were mood boards. Many of the people who are involved in commercials and stuffs do the same version of this, but he tells that he used those photographs to coral images around the specific film projects that he was involved in. But soon he realized that he was interested in this. So those images or photographs moved from in between the sketchbooks to a particular book where they can be displayed also. But he stopped making books as there was his first laptop, internet, and there was Google. And with a single click, you can see a lot of images at the same time. And next, he found out Apex. Apex is a file. Foremost, you can see it as a grid. It is a bunch of images in relationship to a special narrative of his life, of his creativity. Like there are all the photographs, there is all the script, and these are the rest of the stuff to go with it. Then he says that there is something very powerful about transforming an abject thing into the one which is very valuable. Next artist is Alfredo Jar. Now, he's personally my favorite. He tells us 3 stories from all around the world that he has seen. Now, before making the Lament of Images, his contemporary artwork, he photographed the genocide in Rwanda in 1994. Like 1 million people were killed in less than 100 days. But nobody cared about it, and nobody was interested in his photographs or that genocide. So he has to find a different way of representing the genocide. And it became a task for him to represent the unrepresentable. And also his result of many consequences, his relationship to the photography and issues of representation has gradually changed. And then he invented Lament of Images. He says that he thinks that light is the most simple, poetic to convey this blindness. Like we mix all the colors, then we get white color. We can also say that white color is the totality of all the colors or totality of all the lives. White color. Light also represents truth. And let there be light. I want to see. It represents, I want to know I want justice. I want to know the truth. Now, this Lament of Images is all about the absence of. Now, the name of the next module is Territories and Transit. What is the border? There is an artist who has been struggling with this question time to time. There are actually two artists. They say that our work is often a response to something and that something is often a problem. Design might be defined as creating a solution to a problem through drawing, like that of interior designing. Design may also be defined not as a solution to a problem, but wedging our foot to the door that allows us to see whether we can continue that conversation forward or not. Like we can see a border patrol vehicle in the shadows of these drawings. Like they say that they sketch all their ideas and bounce them off each other before beginning a project. Then they talk about their lives and how it is connected to the contemporary art. Like this, they started to work initially in the borderlands between US and Mexico in early 20th century. And at that time, borderlands were an evolving context. And then came the idea of the border walls for the national security. But soon the border walls were constructed within their cultural identity also. Now they started collecting stories what they saw. They started collecting stories of what they saw, and soon they were bombarded with the news of family separation and detainment at the border. They had to find a way to conceptually dismantle the wall. So they found out a way to conceptually dismantle the wall. Dismantle here means identity to disempower. Then the idea of teeter-totter came there. From that, they were illustrating a point between labor imbalances and balances, equity, inequity, and watching the wall as a fulcrum, as a literal fulcrum between US and Mexico relationships. They want us to, as they present their drawings and their models in form of souvenir keychains, snow globes, border wall games, postcards, maps, etc. They want us to know also to see the activism and resilience in the border walls that made the border walls look diminutive or small. Hence, they were conceptually dismantled. Now, the teeter-totters were 18 to 20 feet long and they could lift a person up to 4 feet high. They were colored hot pink, representing the femicides there. Also, the artists also want us to know the amount of resources that were immigrated there to construct those walls. And in a post-wall world, what do we do with all the remnants of those border walls? We could stitch both the communities together. For them, their favorite part is ideation. They like to provide houses or homes to those ideas, as we don't know where those ideas are going to stop. As if there is an idea beyond the teeter-totters, then they will continue to pursue that idea so that they can continue and not stop anywhere.